68th annual Summer Music Camp. We are delighted you're here. We have had a fantastic week with these young men and women on stage, and they have been just remarkable. Parents, thank you for doing such an exemplary job with these folks. Seated before you is the Epley Band, named after Louis E. Epley Jr., President of the Board of Trustees. He has his name on most of the buildings on campus that the Waltons don't have their name on. So he's quite the big deal. We just lost Louis just recently, and so it makes this performance even more special for all of us that knew Louis. This week, the band has been conducted by C.J. Morris from Harbor High School in Springdale, Kyle Weimar from Owasso High School in Owasso, Oklahoma, and the percussion specialist has been Christian Leon from Alma High School in Alma, Arkansas. You will be treated this afternoon to Above and Beyond by James Swearingen, Dark Adventure by Ralph Ford, Rattlesnake. I'm told there are no real rattlesnakes that will be loosed. They will all be faux rattlesnakes by Paul Lavender, and the Byzantine Dances by Carol Britton Chambers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get a big enthusiastic welcome to the Epley Band and Maestro C.J. Morris.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Henderson, and I'm one of the head counselors at the Summer Music Camp. On behalf of the other head counselor, Laura Jean Merrick, and all the counselors back at the dorm, we want to say how wonderful your kids were to take care of this week and how good they were. They seem to have had a great time and are probably looking forward to some sleep in their own bed, because I know I am. Summer Music Camp has a process that allows us to find leaders among the campers and then bring them back next year on a half-tuition scholarship as a captain where they will help us over at the dorms. We have 3 captains from this ensemble, so students, when I call your name, please stand to be recognized. Annabelle Anderson from Eufaula Middle School. Philip Rearitt from Pryor Middle School. Austin Wineland from Stillwater Middle School. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the long-standing traditions of Summer Music Camp is we ask all of our faculty at the very beginning of the week to keep their eye out and their ear out for the most outstanding campers. And we then ask them to pick a most outstanding musician in each band. And that's impossible, not a fair thing to ask them to do because everybody on stage is outstanding. But the conductors and all of the applied teachers, the master class folks, the sectional teachers, etc., have gotten together and they have chosen the one. Now, the one in this group will receive a half-tuition scholarship to next summer's Summer Music Camp, so congratulations, and they'll receive this beautiful certificate. However, the trophies didn't make it, tariffs. And so we will get them across the ocean and to whoever wins, probably by Pony Express, but you will get your trophy, I promise you. So I'm going to ask CJ and Kyle to come forward and make this presentation for the outstanding musician.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. This student has just displayed all the characteristics of not only being a great musician, but a great human being. It's very rare to have such a kid accept criticism, say, yes, I've got it, thank you so much. Be polite, be caring about the ensemble, and paying close attention all week. So on behalf of Mr. Morris and Mr. Leon, I'd like to present our outstanding musician to go to Bo Dresga from Rogers. As you can see, this takes a lot of people to pull off, and I just want to say a few thank yous before we get to our last piece. First and foremost, thank you to Mr. Warren and the entire faculty here at the University of Arkansas. This is a phenomenal camp, and thank you for all your support from those folks. Thank you, parents, for sending your child to camp. This is a major growing up experience, and it's just been wonderful, even in the short time that I've gotten to know these students, how they've grown not only, as we said, musicians, but as people as well. We've had an outstanding percussion coordinator in the back working all week long. I've had the pleasure of doing this several years with him, and he's just the best in the business. So if he could come out and be recognized, please give it up for Mr. Christian Leon. And of course, to the wonderful musicians that we get to share the stage with, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for your hard work. You guys are awesome. It's been a really, really fun week. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. They're wonderful. I can't say enough good things about them. We've got, yes, please. We've got one more piece for you that we're very excited about. Please enjoy Byzantine dances. Thank you so much for coming today. We appreciate you.
ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about the Epley Band? Weren't they amazing? Let's give them another round of applause. Yeah. No, no. Thank you. Right. Everybody, y'all can have a seat. I'll give you some logistical information to help out. This will also help you, parents and guardians that would like to collect your child after this. You know, if you're going to leave them here, I need some information before you get out. Okay, guys, what we're going to do with you, Epley Band, is take you off stage left. See where all those people are smiling and waving at you? You want to go toward them. Parents are going to go downstairs, case up, and then they'll come back up and around and meet you in the lobby. Now, while you're in the lobby, it might be a good idea for you to stop by the RBAA Films table. Is that a special sound effect for this announcement? It was, and it was done pretty well to have no rehearsal. I'm impressed by that. The point is, RBAA Films has been making this phenomenal HD video of all the concerts today, and you're going to want to have it as a keepsake and a wonderful memory of your child's time here at camp. The good news is every dime you spend with them today is coming 100% back to the University of Arkansas Summer Music Camp. And we want to thank them for their generosity. So get out there and spend, spend, spend. We'll be right back with the Janzen Band. Thank you so much, Epley Band. Now you can make noise. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the University of Arkansas and to our 68th annual Summer Music Camp. We're delighted you're here. We've had a really spectacular week with these young men and women on stage. This is the Janzen Band. This band is named after Eldon A. Jansen, longtime director of bands here at the University of Arkansas and probably widely considered the greatest band director in the history of the planet. We're not partial at all, but that's certainly how we feel about Mr. Jansen. The conductors and our percussion specialists with the Janzen Band this week have been quite outstanding. First of all, Mr. David Gorham, director of bands at Owasso High School in Owasso, Oklahoma. Mr. Michael Post from the Fayetteville High School and Woodland Junior High here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And the percussion specialist is Corey Fincher, also from here at the University of Arkansas. You will be treated to Fireball by Brian Beck, Albemarle Fantasy by Mark Williams, Doppler Effect by Sean O'Loughlin, and As Winds Dance by Sam Hazo. Ladies and gentlemen, please, an exciting welcome for the Janzen Band and Maestro Michael Post.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Henderson, and I'm one of the head counselors at the Summer Music Camp. On behalf of the other head counselor, Laura Jean Merrick, and all of the counselors back at the dorm, we want to say how wonderful your kids were this week and how much we enjoyed taking care of them. They seem to have had a great time and are probably looking forward to some sleep in their own bed. I know I am. Summer Music Camp has a process that allows us to find leaders among the campers and then bring them back next year on a half-tuition scholarship as a captain where they will help us down at the dorms. We have several captains from this ensemble, so we ask that you please hold your applause until all names have been called. Students, when I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Eva Lewis from Owasso 7th Grade Center. Matthew Aaron from Eufaula Middle School. Copeland Myers from Prairie Grove Junior High. Nolan Hinkson from Woodland Junior High. And Colin Elliott from Stillwater Middle School. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the long-standing traditions of summer music camp is we ask our faculty on the very first meeting we have early Sunday morning to keep an eye out, keep an ear out for the most outstanding students at the camp. And one of the charges that we give each of our faculty is pick the most outstanding musician from every band. Not possible. They're all outstanding musicians, but we've gotten together. We've done some homework. We've identified the one, and whoever the one is, next summer they will get a half tuition scholarship to summer music camp, and they're going to get a nice certificate in a moment. And another thing they'll get is you will get your trophy. They didn't make it, tariffs, and. We'll get it across the big pond soon. We'll get it on Pony Express, and we'll get it to you wherever you live. I promise. The trophy is coming. I promise you. I don't know when. Maybe another election cycle, but we'll get it to you. So, and I told you when I came out that this band was named after Eldon A. Jansen, and the person that knows him best is the person that Mr. Jansen hired right when he got here. Mr. Jansen started at the University of Arkansas in 1970, and he had the good sense to hire Chow Ragsdale as his assistant band director and percussion professor, and they worked together for 25 years before Mr. Jansen's retirement. So I'm going to let Chow tell you a little bit about Mr. Jansen, and then he and David and Michael will present the award for Outstanding Musician. Chow?
You know, you're lucky if you ever work with anybody that you really enjoy working with. And I've been fortunate to work with numerous people that I've enjoyed working with, Mr. Warren being one, Eldon Jansen certainly being one. If you're the assistant band director and you don't like the band director, you're in deep trouble. And Mr. Jansen was quite a bit older than I was, and he took on, I think he knew I needed some fathering. I think he knew I was green as grass, and he took it upon himself to bring me up right. And I appreciate everything that he did for me. He taught me everything I know about band directing. Unfortunately, he didn't teach me everything he knew. He just taught me everything I know. But I value that relationship so much, and the things that he did in taking the University of Arkansas band from, frankly, a rather mediocre program to a great program that's been able to sustain its momentum then because of the philosophical foundation that he provided. But enough of that. Let's get to the outstanding musician as identified by the conductors of this band. I know it was difficult for them because there's so many outstanding musicians. But it's my honor to present as on behalf of Eldon Jansen as the outstanding musician in the Janzen Band to a trumpet player from Owasso, Oklahoma, Gabriel Duggar.
Hello everyone, Michael Post here. Thank you so much for being here and supporting these students. I have a few thank yous I'd like to make on behalf of the Janzen Band. I first want to thank my fellow conductor, David Gorham, who was so awesome working with him this week. This was my 11th year of doing camp, and I may have had the most fun this week, and big part and shout out to him and the students here and the whole team at the camp. I also want to take a moment to introduce our percussion coordinator who did a fantastic job, Corey Fincher. Can we give them a round of applause? Also, a few other notable thank yous. A big thank you to Professor Warren and all of the camp faculty and staff who just made everything run so smooth. Really, my job it felt so easy, and I'm so appreciative of them. So much behind the scenes that went so well throughout the week, and I'm really appreciative of that. And included in that team, someone who was a really big asset to us throughout the week and jumped in and helped us was April Shelby. Can we give these folks a round of applause, please? Okay, and this group is really important. A big thank you to our parents and guardians and the families and supporters of these children here on stage. Thank you to these important folks. Your children have done a great job this week. It's been fantastic getting to work with them all and see their growth. And I want to encourage you to keep on supporting them in their journey in music, and it seems like they're off to a great start so far. Can we give our parents and guardians and supporters a round of applause? Thank you again for attending. We'll close with As Winds Dance by Sam Hazo.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of the Janzen Band? Weren't they amazing? Fantastic. Let's give them another round of applause. Great job, Janzen Band. Now, a little bit of housekeeping just so everybody knows what's going on. Janzen Band, we're going to take you off stage left. See where all those people are smiling and waving, right? Go that way. Parents, what happens is they go down, they case up, and then they come back around, and they're going to meet you in the lobby here of the Faulkner Performing Arts Center. And while you're in the lobby, just a recommendation, stop by the RBAA table because they are going to be happy to sell you a digital download of not only this concert, but all the concerts that are being performed here today. It's really cheap, but not the quality of the recording. It's the highest ever. 27 cameras, high def, drones, got it all. And the good news is, every dime you spend with them today is coming back 100% to Summer Music Camp. And we thank them for their incredible generosity. So go out there, spend like crazy, great Christmas gifts, and we'll be back shortly with a bright band. Thank you, Janzen Band. Off to stage left. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the University of Arkansas and our 68th annual Summer Music Camp. We're delighted you're here and we've had a fantastic week with these young men and women seated before you. This is the Robert M. Bright Band, and we'll learn a little bit more about Mr. Bright and why this band bears his name in a moment. But I want you to know that we have had just the best time with these young men and women, and parents and guardians, give yourselves a raise. They have been exemplary in every way this week, so thank you for that. This band has been conducted this week by Chase Jones on the faculty here at the University of Arkansas, and Kevin Zamborski, director of bands at Stillwater High School in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and their percussion specialist is Chris Shearer, also on staff here at the University of Arkansas. You will be treated to Choose Joy by Randall D. Standridge, Of Locks and Thistles, Christina Hull, Through the Storm by Gerard Hall, and Flashpoint by Tyler Akari. Ladies and gentlemen, please an enthusiastic welcome to the Bright Band and Maestro Kevin Zamborski. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special presentation to make, and you're saying, well, why are you making it now? Well, the recipient is a member of the Bright Band, and so we thought this would be an appropriate time. The award is named the Dale and Chow Ragsdale Leadership Award, and you heard from Mr. Ragsdale just a couple of minutes ago that, you know, he was the camp director here for 15 years, and before that worked ever since he was here since 1975. He's just now retired, so he's done 50 years of full-time. Now he's going to half-time. We know that's a lie. Yeah, he'll be here 9/10 at least, maybe 10/10, knowing him. But the point is, he and his sweet bride, Dell, decided that this needed to happen. We needed to recognize outstanding leadership, particularly at this age level. And I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about their motivation for giving all this money, and then also to make the presentation to the recipient. So Chow, would you come and present your and Dale's award?
I'm going to embarrass my wife because I know she's here. Dale, would you stand up? Ten years ago, when I stopped being camp director, we decided at that time, one of the things that's unfunded at the camp is captain scholarships. Those simply, the money for that just has to come out of the tuition that all the students pay. And we thought it would be nice to start something towards making the captain scholarships be more self-sustaining. So we took, we've funded over the last 10 years and started off and funded a scholarship at the foundation, University Foundation, so it's there forever. And it pretty quickly got to a point where they could make an award equivalent to half tuition scholarship, and that'll continue to grow. When you make a scholarship, one of the hardest things is deciding how to award it. So kind of turned that over to the leadership of the camp to figure it out. And the way it worked out is that the counselors look at this year's captains, and based on their musicianship, but also their citizenship and what kind of person they are to work with in the dormitory, because that's very telling. That's at least as telling as whether or not you can play your 16th notes at 130 beats a minute. And so we're delighted in the way in which they make the award. And we're really honored to make this year's recipient is a clarinetist from Eufaula, Oklahoma. And Dale was a clarinetist, so we like that. Ava Neal.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Henderson, and I'm one of the head counselors at the Summer Music Camp. On behalf of the other head counselor, Laura Jean Merrick, and all the counselors back at the dorm, we want to say how wonderful your kids were this week and how we enjoyed taking care of them. They seem to have had a great time and could probably use a good night's rest in their own bed. I know that because I know I do. Summer Music Camp has a process that allows us to find leaders among the campers and then bring them back next year on a half-tuition scholarship as a captain where they will help us over at the dorms. We have several captains from this ensemble, so we ask that you please hold your applause until all names have been called. Students, if I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Nora Cooper from Woodland Junior High. Lanny Deathridge from Eufaula Middle School. Beckett Myers from Woodland Junior High. Nolan White from Stillwater Middle School, and Avon Lee from Owasso 7th Grade Center. Thank you very much.
Have you liked this program so far? Isn't the music spectacular? And aren't they doing a great job with it? I'm telling you. Wow. We have a time-honored tradition at summer music camp where we ask our faculty the very first meeting at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning, keep your eyes out, keep your ears open for the best, the finest, top of the shelf, you know, the cream of the crop. And then we ask them to do the impossible. Pick one outstanding musician from all of these musicians on stage who are all outstanding. And so it's an impossible task, but we put our heads together and we have come up with the one. Now, here's what you need to know, whoever the one is in just a moment. The one will get a half-tuition scholarship to next summer's music camp. Congratulations. You'll also get a beautiful certificate, very calligraphied for you. Your name's on it already. And also, as soon as we can get the trophies across the pond, tariffs, we will get it to you somehow, no matter where you live. We promise we will get you your trophy. That is a guarantee. Now, Robert M. Bright, legendary trumpet teacher at the University of Arkansas and legendary summer music camp director. And there is nobody on our faculty that knows more about Robert Bright than Chow Ragsdale. And so Chow's going to tell you a little bit about Professor Bright and why this band's name is so significant to all of us. And he will help the conductors present the Outstanding Musician Award to the Bright Band.
Y'all are going to get tired of me, but this is my last speaking engagement of the afternoon, I promise. But again, it's been such a pleasure for me to work with people I respect and like and enjoy being around and had fun with through the years. And I was privileged to work with Robert Bright for 25 of his 30 years that he was here. He took over music camp in 1970 when it was very troubled financially. Didn't know if we could really have a music camp. At that point, it was about 14 years old at that time, and Bob said, well, let me see what I can do with it. It probably had under 100 participants, and he built it up to 900. And he did it through philosophy. He did it through being dedicated to the idea that the students come first. It's not something we're doing for the good of the University of Arkansas first. It's not a recruiting ploy for us. It's first of all for these students. Secondly, for their teachers, so that we can be a part of their curriculum, give them something to work for. And third, for you parents as well, because I don't think you want to spend money sending your children to be recruited by us. That's not a thing. That's not a good business plan. So I followed that philosophy, and I think it's worked real well for us. And we owe it to Mr. Bright. Mr. Bright, I like to say, is the architect of music camp. It's his blueprint that we have followed in terms, again, of the philosophy and what we want to, the practicalities of the camp and how we want to serve students. So this is a significant award for me. I've spent my whole career paying back people who did great things for me. My mentors, and certainly Mr. Bright, Mr. Jansen, are among those that I try to give forward because they gave forward to me. So it's very significant, I think, to be representing Robert Bright with this award. So we'll have Chase Jones make that award now at this time, and I'm signing off at this point.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the outstanding musician for the Bright Band was a student who, from our first rehearsal, kind of stuck out as a very talented musician and engaged student in rehearsal, and that has just continued throughout camp this week. Had the pleasure to work with a student in sectionals as we've gone through camp this week, and the musicianship and the talent is just off the charts, and also just you can tell he's a really very kind student as well. And so we are honored to give the Outstanding Musician Award for the Bright Band to Angel Haro from Owasso. Before we finish up our portion of today's concert, just wanted to thank a few people. First of all, you've seen him back there helping with percussion as our percussion coordinator for the Bright Band this week, Mr. Chris Scheer. Let's give Chris a round of applause. And then you only get to see this part of camp, but these students were involved in so many other activities throughout the week through the classes, led by other applied faculty and applied lessons teachers, all the counseling staff back at the dorm, the office staff that kind of makes all this run. And so there's so much work behind the scenes that you don't get to see at this performance tonight, but I just want to take a second to recognize all those folks and thank them for all that they've done to support these students this week. So let's give them a round of applause, please. And then finally, the most important people we need to thank is these fantastic young musicians on stage. They've been a joy to work with all week. They've been fun, they've been engaged, they've hopefully learned a lot, and we've had a great time working with them. So let's give another round of applause for these great students. And we hope you enjoy our final piece, Flashpoint.
Now, don't you think you need to give them another big round of applause? Weren't they spectacular? The Bright Band, ladies and gentlemen. All righty, here's a little bit of logistical information for you parents and guardians particularly, and then Bright Band, here's what we're going to do with you. Look over to stage left, see those folks waving and smiling? They're going to take a collection up as you pass by them because you're going to go off stage left, and then parents, we're going to take them downstairs. They're going to case up. We're going to bring them back up to the front lobby of the Faulkner Performing Arts Center. And you're saying, what am I going to do while I'm waiting on my child to put their horn up? Well, very simple. You're going to go by the RBAA Films table and give them money. And the reason you're going to want to do that is because they're making high-quality videos of every concert today. It's a memory, a keepsake you won't want to not have. You'll regret it if you don't. It is the best quality video that any digital download can offer. So promise me you're going to go out there and spend a lot of money, and you're going to get Christmas presents, birthday presents, Thanksgiving presents, Thomas Jefferson Day presents, every present you need. You're going to want to spend some money for that. Now, the reason is every dime you spend with RBA Films comes back to the University of Arkansas Summer Music Camp, 100%, and we thank them for their generosity. So Bright Band, you were awesome. Off the stage left, parents, spend money. We'll be back with the Honor Band. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the University of Arkansas and our 68th annual Summer Music Camp. We're delighted you're here. And now we get to the Honor Band, our final performance of the afternoon. These young men and women have been exemplary all week. Parents, give yourselves a raise. You have done a wonderful job with them. They just could not have been better. So let me tell you a little bit about their conductors and their percussion specialist. They've been conducted by Dr. Chris Knighton, Director of Bands here at the University of Arkansas, and Chris Harris, Band Director from Owasso, Oklahoma. And their percussion specialist is Mr. Tim Clifford. He's from the Tulsa area. And you will be treated to the following: The City of Lights, Andrew Watkin; Sun Chaser, Carol Britton Chambers. Within the Castle Walls, there are 4 movements by Brian Balmages, and Hopek, Ukrainian Dance by William Owen. Ladies and gentlemen, please, an enthusiastic welcome to the Honor Band and Maestro Chris Harris.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Henderson, and I'm one of the head counselors at the summer music camp. On behalf of the other head counselor, Laura Jean Merrick, and all of the counselors back at the dorm, we want to say how wonderful your kids were this week and how much we've enjoyed taking care of them. They seem to have had a great time, but are probably looking forward to some sleep in their own beds. And if you've been here all day, you know, so am I. Summer Music Camp has a process that allows us to find leaders among the campers and then bring them back next year on a half-tuition scholarship as a captain where they will help us over at the dorms. We have several captains from this ensemble, so we ask that you please hold your applause until all names have been called. Students, if I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Joy Sander from Owasso 7th Grade Center. Blake Linsenmeyer from Stillwater Middle School. Claire McGavick from Owasso 7th Grade Center. Miles Cooper from Washington Junior High, and Molly Francis from Don Tyson School of Innovation. Thank you very much.
So it's always our job to educate these kids, but sometimes it's good to educate the audience. So when we have a multi-movement work, and if you're a musician, you know this. If you're not, here's your coaching. And if you mess this up, it's not a big deal. Okay, it's really not a big deal. But we want you to know when there's a multi-movement work, it's going to sound like it stops 3 times before it's actually the end. And if you can resist holding your applause, please do. Here's the hint. If my baton is still in the air, the piece isn't over. When my baton goes down to my side, that's the clap time. Got it? Okay.
What do you think about this band, ladies and gentlemen? Aren't they amazing? I mean, they sound spectacular. Woo! Well, a time-honored tradition here at Summer Music Camp is we ask the faculty at the 8 o'clock Sunday morning meeting, first thing, keep your eyes out, keep your ears open for the best, the finest, the cream that rises to the top, the most outstanding. And that's pretty difficult, especially when you got an honor band of 90 kids this spectacular. But you got to do what you got to do, right? So there are going to be 3 awards given to this band. We call them the Robert M. Bright Award for Outstanding Musicianship. There'll be a woodwind player selected, there'll be a brass player selected, and there'll be a percussionist selected. The good news, ladies and gentlemen, these next 3 names that are called will all carry a full scholarship to next summer's music camp. That would be full, and you're going to get a beautiful certificate. And as soon as we get the trophies here, I've been telling everybody it's the tariff problem, but we will get them here, and we will get them to wherever you live, I promise. Don't know how long, maybe next summer camp, but we will get them to you. So to present the Robert M. Bright Outstanding Musicianship Awards to the finest woodwind, the finest brass, and the finest percussionists from the Honor Band, please welcome the Chris's, the conductors of the Honor Band.
I have to echo him. We hate this part. These kids are amazing. These kids are the future. We need to vote them into public office. They are ridiculously awesome. And I hate just picking one. We had lots of discussions. I hated doing this when I was teaching band. To have to pick somebody out of a crowd is never comfortable. So just know that we really cherish every single one of them. But we do have an outstanding woodwind. And the outstanding woodwind player is Jocelyn Zhang. The outstanding brass player is Andrea Bissell. And to delay just a bit on the percussion, I'm going to take advantage now to introduce our percussion specialist. It's always great to come back to the University of Arkansas. It's even better to come back when your percussion specialist is a person that you taught back in the day in high school. I'm a percussionist myself. I know how hard it is to gather equipment, kids, organize, get them all going where they need to go. And it's always a big shout of joy when I see that Tim Clifford is the percussion specialist for the band that I'm working with. So a round of applause for Tim. And I said that so that he could actually give this award because he's worked closely with the percussionists. The outstanding percussionist this year is Mateo Munoz Rodri. We will close with one last selection.
What about that honor band? What about a standing ovation, ladies and gentlemen? They were incredible. Thank you, Honor Band. That was great. If you'll just have a seat for one moment, I'm going to tell your parents and guardians what to do next. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to take the Honor Band off stage left. They're going to go downstairs. That's where their cases are. They'll case up. Then they'll be brought back up to the lobby right out in front of the Faulkner Performing Arts Center. And you're thinking, what am I going to do while they're downstairs casing up? Got an idea for you. Go out to the RBAA Films table, open your wallet, and give them money. That's all you need to know. Because they've been making the highest quality videos of all these concerts today. And what's going to happen is every dollar you spend, you're going to get a digital download of all these concerts, not just the Honor Band, but everybody that's played today. It's a great keepsake. You're going to want it. Give it as gifts, Christmas, birthdays, Thomas Jefferson's anniversary, whatever you got to give gifts for, that's what you want. So every dollar you spend with them today comes back 100% to Summer Music Camp. So it's a generous, generous offer that they make to us. We accept it gladly, and we hope you'll spend generously. Thanks for being here. Safe travels on Honor Band. You were amazing. We'll see you off on stage left. See you next week.